This is Greg Savage from MachineMasters.com, and today we're going to talk about waveforms. Generally, when people start diving into sound design and synthesis, they learn just by turning the knobs and kind of going with what sounds good. That's a good way to learn, but I find that it's a lot easier if you know what the sounds are referencing. This way you know where to start when you have a sound in your head. So without further ado, let's get started. Here's the sine wave. If you notice, it sounds like a test tone. Pretty good for whistles, wires, that West Coast lead. Also good for like sub basses, things like that. The next sound is the triangle. This sound is good for recorders, church organs, flutes, things like that. Kind of has like a woody sound to it. You could also use it for wires or worms, leads, things like that. The next sound is a square. This is good for creating like clarinets and dubstep, DMB basses, gritty basses, things like that. The next sound is the saw. This would be good for mimicking brass instruments, and I'll show this in a future tutorial. White noise can be used for snares, wind, static. Pink noise is warmer. It could be used for explosions, thunder, even to add a little grit to pad sounds, etc. Now, before you go out just buying synths or thinking that your synthesizer is inferior, one thing I would recommend is loading up a basic patch on your synthesizer, as well as a demo of another synthesizer that you're interested in, and really listening to the differences. A lot of the time, it's not that the more expensive synthesizer is better, it's just that their stock settings are different for each of their waveforms. Here's an example. Subtractor was clearly the lowest of the two, but watch what happens when we match the settings of Spire and Subtractor. See, after a little tweaking, doesn't sound that bad. Sounds really close to Spire. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Hope you learned something. If you have any questions or comments or even suggestions on future tutorials, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you next week.